gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with funk instead of that funk. This is the After 40 Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal, and I'm ready to talk some shit. Let's go! Hey, Superwoman, welcome back. Since the last episode, somebody won that $1.35 billion lottery jackpot. Can you imagine, or maybe you already have, having the winning ticket? What would you do with that $1.35 billion? Who would you become? What would she look like? How would she dress? What would she spend her money on? How would she give her money away? Or would she give some of it away? How would she feel? How would she think different? Where would she spend most of her time? And how would she act different? Now, hopefully with some of those questions, I have you thinking, imagining, dreaming. Right now, I'm reading this book called Purple Crayons, The Art of Drawing a Life by Ross Ellenhorn. And it is so fascinating because it's talking about Harold and the Purple Crayon. You may know it as a children's story. And for those of you who don't know it, it's about a little boy who has a purple crayon in his hand. He takes a walk in the moonlight with his trusty crayon. He just starts drawing these things to take him on an adventure. Like he starts with the road and he starts walking down the road. And then he just draws things like an apple tree. And he just is having fun exploring, wondering, being excited and curious. And when he draws something that doesn't turn out particularly well, he just draws something to get him out of the obstacle. That crayon allows him to draw whatever is in his imagination and just takes him on this fun-filled adventure until he ends up home, in bed, safe and sound. And the book Purple Crayons takes an in-depth dive into each of the scenes with Harold. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but he talks about a couple things. He talks about the struggle that we all have in drawing our own original life on a canvas using our own purple crayon. What would that adventure look like if you had your own purple crayon and could draw whatever you wanted, whatever your imagination could take you? What would your life look like? And he reminds us to tap into our originality, our authenticity. That is what will bring true fulfillment. So you know what your takeaway action for this episode is, right? It's to grab a blank piece of paper or a canvas if you want to go all out and draw what your life will look like using pictures. Just have fun with it. And I know you left-brainers, if you're like me, this might seem a little woo, but just do it. Go for it. Have fun with it. What's it gonna hurt? Notice when you're drawing what comes up for you. Do you find yourself arguing for your limitations? Or do you even realize that you're arguing for your limitations? Let me give you an example. In my drawing of my life, of course I had this podcast on it. And I remember telling my coach that I just couldn't make it happen, that I was just too busy. I was arguing that my kids' schedule kept me busy, that my entrepreneur responsibilities were keeping me busy, that I was just in a season of busy. And she let me whine, but not for long. And if you know me, you know I love candidness and just straight to the point. And she said, Crystal, you're arguing for your limitations. You don't think there's another mom, another entrepreneur out there that's busy and still makes a podcast? And man, I love candor, but sometimes it still stings. She was right. I was arguing for my limitations. I was arguing them like they were a matter of fact. Even the writer Richard Bach says, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. And that was my case. I had argued this with myself for so long, it was fact. It was definitely mine to own. I had made this a part of my story, that I'm a busy mom, a busy entrepreneur with no time in my schedule for anything else. So after my coach called out my BS, well, you can see the result. I have my podcast now. When we draw that imaginary life on that canvas, the one we think is amazing, that big, exciting, adventurous life, it's funny how we start to argue for our limitations. We start looking at it saying, but I can't have this, but I can't do this because of this. Be honest with yourself. Are you arguing for your limitations? It actually cracks me up because I went to the ski hill to go skiing the other day, and I literally saw blind people skiing. And I looked at them and said, what if they had told themselves they couldn't ski because they couldn't see? They would never have had that amazing experience. And sure enough, when I was thinking about that, a person paralyzed from the waist down was on this body contraption with the ski on the bottom. And I was like, how in the world are they going to get on that chairlift? Not for 1 second did they even hesitate to get on that chairlift despite their obstacle, despite what I looked at as a limitation. Matter of fact, they didn't even see it as a limitation. You're seeing it as one. So go wild on that blank canvas. Draw an amazing life, one beyond even your own imagination. Where does that take you? What do you want your story to be about yourself? What do you want to author? Now, here is the question that's likely to make you upset. Or I just ask you to notice how you feel when I ask it. Why don't you have that dream life now? What's holding you back from having that life you just drew on that canvas? Each person takes what's happened to them and they decide what it means to them or to yourself. Whatever's happened to you, you've decided what it means to you. You've looked at the challenges and trials of your life, and perhaps you believe that you're just unlucky, or perhaps you believe that you're no good because of some of the situations in which you've been involved or the things that's happened to you. You can choose to believe your circumstances, or you can choose to believe you're not defined by your past and not doomed to repeat it. You can choose a big, wonderful life instead. And here's the thing. Once you choose to think it, you have to believe it. You have to believe it's possible. You have to believe that life you drew on that blank canvas is yours for the taking. And let me ask you another question. Is it not one of your circumstances? Is it just a fear of failure? And then I ask you why failure is a big deal. So many people have failed up. They've learned from their mistakes, right? I love looking at the biography of Mark Cuban because he's tried a string of things and he's had a string of failures. He actually started a business selling powdered milk and that failed. Then he went to a company where he had a sales gig at a computer company, and he got fired for closing a deal without approval from the CEO. And then getting fired led him to start his own computer systems company. And now he's a billionaire. So the string of failures, why does it matter? As long as you're moving forward, taking action, and what I like to call failing up. Or are you concerned about what others will think? I love this one because who really gives a crap what others think? You can't change what they think of you. It's their own thoughts. You have no control over their thoughts. I remember giving a business presentation once, and the CFO told me it wasn't that great. Yet the participants got so much out of it. So to my point, I was teaching the same thing. I was showing the same thing. One person thought something completely different than the other person. So what do we care about what people think? And I always remind people that your true friends, they're cheering you on. It's the people sitting on the couch that have an opinion. And their opinion always comes without a solution or without constructive criticism. I remember telling my team, hey, when you come to me with a problem, bring me some type of solution. And I can tell you that the naysayers, there's always going to be a naysayer. There's always going to be somebody that comes back to you with negative feedback. And as Rachel Hollis put in her book, someone else's opinion of you is none of your business. Move on, girl. This is your life we're talking about, not someone else's. Your life is your choice, and you are the author of your life. And girl, when I hand you your purple crayon, don't tell me you don't know. Because it seems like an innocent thought, but it is indeed robbing you of your wisdom, of the rich experiences that you've already had. You do know what that life is that you want to draw, those pictures that you want to put on that canvas. Open up your mind. Even if you don't know the exact answer right now, saying, I don't know, will block that answer from coming. Say, I'm learning, or I'm figuring it out. Whenever you say you don't know, it's either your mind telling you it's too hard, or you just don't want to think about it. It's time to step out of it. You have done hard things, and you can do hard, and you don't want to think about it? Well, it's time to start thinking about it. This is your life we're talking about. Time to step out of the routine, the mindlessness, and step right into your life. The life you want to create, the life you want to draw on that blank canvas. And stop saying you should have done it a long time ago, or you should have started a long time ago. Girl, podcasting started in 2004, and I'm starting one today, right now. And if I can start today, you can too. Stop shoulding all over yourself and stop letting people should all over yourself. It's time to take your shoulds and just start doing. Start taking action. If you're not getting the results you want, reevaluate your thoughts. Look at your thoughts, because if your results are crap, it's because your thoughts are crap. And just going back to me arguing about my limitations, do you know where I read most of my books? In the pickup line while I'm waiting for my kids to get out of practice. Actually, I even record some of my podcasts there right on my phone. Oh, girl, it's time to stop arguing limitations. It's time to start drawing with your purple crayon. Grab that canvas. Draw a life you've only imagined, or even beyond your wildest dreams. So, girl, here's your purple crayon. Give yourself permission to dream and imagine beyond what's possible. Put it in the pictures on the paper, the canvas, whatever you're using. And let's live into that. Live into that girl, that woman. That life is available to you. So come on, Harold. Let's pick up your purple crayon and let's draw. And then let's go. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, now is the time to go unfunk your mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up and go.